Welcome Hot Wheel collectors. This is a new type of video I'll be putting on my channel now. It's a casting specific video. Each video will be about one casting and a little bit of history behind it, as well as all of the releases that I have as part of my collection. And generally I won't be doing one of these videos unless I have most of the castings. So for today's video we're looking at the Super Van, based on a 1975 Chevy van. Kind of a generic vehicle, but it's one that's been in the Hot Wheels lineup for years and years. First released in 1975. The original tooling was last issued in 1985, so it had a 10-year run. And then in 2007, it was retooled and released. This one in particular looking at is a 2010 mainline. It was the first Super Van to be released back to the mainline. For the 3 years prior to that, there was conventions and collector vehicles released, but I don't have those. And this video is going to mainly stick with the specifics of the first generation of Super Vans. And as you can see, we've got some incredibly rare Super Vans here for you to look at. And happy to share this type of collection video with you guys, because the main heart and soul of my Hot Wheels room and Hot Wheels collection is the 1974 through 1989 Hot Wheels. Every variation known to exist. I've looked up various websites to find this information, various books, and it's been something I've been working on for probably the better part of 6 years. Very focused anyway. So without further ado, we shall get into a Super Van historical video. It's hard to say exactly which Super Van came first, but in this first row of vans that you see are the 1975 released Super Vans. So I've got the vehicles sorted basically in rows by the year they were released. The first row, as I said, 75, the second row 1976, the third row 1977, the fourth row 1979. There were no Super Vans released that were new in 78. And then it gets a little sparser as the vans start petering out. We've got a 1980 release over here, a 1982 release over there, the California Cruisin', and a 1983 release Speed Machines, followed by two 1985 release vans, the A-Team van and a serial promotion van, which was only released in cereal boxes, in baggies. So we'll get through all of these with short details on each of the vans that are of interest and the variations to look out for. And starting with 1975, as I said, I'm not sure exactly which ones came first, but in 1975 you have the black Super Vans. These had red line wheels and came with either a metal base and black tint windows, or a chrome plastic base and black tint windows, or a chrome plastic base with blue tint windows. There was always two different window variations here. And there's quite possibly more Super Vans than that. Apparently there's something like 6 different variations in total of these Super Vans. So as you can imagine, you can mix and match the bases and the wheels and the windows, well not the wheels, but everything else, and come up with a whole bunch of different variations. I've never seen any more than those 3. As part of my personal collection, I have hunted them ritually, and those are the ones I've come up with. So the hardest van I would have to say of this entire collection is this Cut Off Canyon playset van from 1975. Released only in the Cut Off Canyon playset, which was like a mountain type set. This blue painted Super Van with the flames on it comes with a chrome plastic base and blue tint windows. No other variations. This is an extremely hard van to come by. Typically, even in the condition that you see it here, which is not mint, these go for anywhere between $300 and $600. I think I paid somewhere around $450 for that one, which is crazy, but had to have her. And then we've got the 62 KGW Radio Van, a limited release baggy van from the radio station of the same name. This was in a production of 15,000 units, And this one here's a mint example, a baggy pull, as I would say. It comes with a chrome plastic base, the blue tint windows, and a very hard van to find. However, a few have been showing up on eBay, so if you're in the market for one, there are some deals to be had out there right now. Also released of the same nature is the King Radio van, which was limited to 10,000 pieces and is obviously slightly harder to find. So both of these vans, extremely expensive, somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 to $500 a vehicle if you're looking for them, and based on just them being so rare, because these are old Hot Wheels. And over here we've got two very popular vans, although not overly rare. They do command the rare Hot Wheel pricing, which is interesting. We've got a blue tint window variation with a chrome plastic base, a black tint window variation with a chrome plastic base, and each of these vans typically sells for, in this mint condition, in the neighborhood of $100 US to $130 US. So also not cheap vans to buy, but if you can come across them at any cheaper, then it might be worth picking one up. And finally, rounding out the 1975 lot of Hot Wheels Supervans released is the Paramedic. This vehicle was retitled Paramedic on its packaging, and as you can see, has a chrome plastic base, black tint windows, or same thing but with blue tint windows. So quite a nice little arrangement of Supervan paramedics, which flash forward about 30 years, and look at, we've got an ambulance van, so it's kind of cool. Paramedic to ambulance, all the same vehicle. Now moving into 1976. In 1976, this is the Hot Wheels that was released. The Military Police U.S. Army van with black tint windows. Came in either a metal base or a chrome plastic base. Both of them are pretty tough to find in mint condition, and usually around the $50 to $60 range, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on supply and demand. And those in 1976, they were just redline. We'll get to 77, where it was released as a Blackwall, much easier van to find than these redline versions. But for now, let's continue through 76. Also came out with the Super Chromes in this year, a whole line of vehicles that featured chrome paint jobs. And for the vans, they featured flames on them as well, just like the 1975 black vans. So these ones, again, lots of variations: black tint window, metal base, black tint window, black plastic base, and blue tint window, black plastic base, which is the toughest of these three vans to find. So keep an eye out for those window tint variations. The final van for 1976 was a Toys R Us promotional van with Joffrey or Jeffrey the giraffe guy on the side of it, kind of in like a purple go-kart etched over the wheelbase of the van, a race car with his scarf flying out back behind him. This one is so mint it almost looks like a resto project, but this is an actual authentic super van from the era. And this was not a cheap piece to find either. Also available in Blackwalls. I'm still hunting that one, haven't been able to find it, but I paid near $400 for this one van. So again, when you're buying them in mint condition like this, it can get very expensive. And moving on up into 1977, we talked about those military vans. Well, here's the Blackwall version. You should be able to find this one for around $30 now. And it is quite a bit easier to find, although it only comes with a metal base as far as I know. Without the plastic base, that's no longer a variation of the year. And also in 77 came out the Super Chromes in Blackwall version. So basically 76 to 77 was the redline to Blackwall changeover, where redlines were phased out. So you're going to see a lot of the vehicles from 76 in 77, so, and even from years prior. For instance, that black Supervan wasn't seen since 1975, but throughout the years right up to 77 it was released, and then of course got the changeover, now featuring only a metal base and black plastic windows. And one of the few vehicles of the 1977 changeover to all be featured in the same year, these were changed halfway through the production year, was the yellow paramedic van Not only could you get it with a metal base and black tint windows, but you could also get it with a chrome plastic base and black tint windows, red lines or black wall wheels, and on top of all that, the deep yellow paint job as seen here on these two vans versus a lemon yellow paint job as seen on these two vans. So the lemon yellow and dark yellow paint job variation showed up in all Hot Wheels between 1977 and 1978, not just super vans. So any cars that were painted yellow, almost any of them you can find in lemon yellow or dark yellow as well. And it's not a subtle variation, it's very noticeable when you have the vans in your hand. Moving on through to 1979 came the California Cruisin', which is actually what this van was titled on its packaging. It was no longer called the Super Van, which features a Zamac type polished paint job and a really cool graphic on the side of a drag car. That's the only variation of that vehicle in that year. There is a similar one that comes out in 1982, but it's a silver metallic paint job with the same tempo. Not at all the same year, 3 years apart. Again, that yellow variation shows up for its final variation year in 1979. The Thor van, based on some comic shows and stuff like that. Lemon yellow and dark yellow, metal base, black tint windows. In 1980, the white Super Van comes out with the Flames, metal base, black tint windows, featuring either a Hong Kong base or a Malaysia base. Both are equally easy to find. They're not a hard vehicle to find. And you know, $20 should pick you that van up. This silver metallic, like we talked about, 1982. This was the exact same vehicle as the chrome version that was released 3 years earlier. And in 1983, the Speed Machine series. This wasn't even labeled a Hot Wheel, it was just made by Mattel and titled on the packaging as Speed Machine only. But this is an extremely hard van to find, and generally worth between $90 and $150 US in mint condition, packaged or unpackaged. I bought this one for about $110. The final production year for the original Super Vans was 1985. This was the last mainline release. The A-Team version of the van, chrome plastic base, blue tint windows, was released in a playset, Dynamite something or other, the Dynamite playset, where the van gets thrown off of a bridge that explodes when you push a button, and also as a cereal packaged baggy van. So in Kellogg cereals you could maybe find this blue Super Van, chrome plastic base, blue tint windows. Imagine finding that in your cereal box, wouldn't that be cool? So that rounds out all the 1975 to 1985 vans that I have in my collection. That I think is pretty much most of them. There might be some variations, like I said, with different wheels and the window tint variations and a few other small things that most collectors won't even worry about. But for the most part, this is a pretty complete Super Van collection of the era. And getting into the retool of the Super Van, which Hot Wheels has done for more than just the Super Van, would entitle an entirely new video, because there are lots of retooled Super Vans out there now. It's a mainline feature casting, as well as a longtime collector series van in the HWC.com type things, and a whole bunch of other adult mainline collections. So, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave a question in the comment section. And as always, happy hunting, everyone. Happy hunting.